Welcome back as we take to the sea and see what's happening in the world of Pacific yachting with the one man who seems to know with a tale. This is a pretty tall tale here today we're going to tell here. I'm amazed. You've had some pretty serious yachters in before. This is a pretty big yarn we're going to hear about today here from this gentleman.
That's for sure. And with me today is Enda O'Coineen. And you've been, how many times have you been around the world? Was it just that one time?
I've been in 4 round the world races.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
And now
I didn't complete them all, but 4.
Yeah, now this one is I can't even remember the title of it. What was this?
The Vendée Globe.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a lifetime ambition.
Yeah.
I had done the Whitbread and the Volvo around the world race, and the Vendée Globe was solo. And there's more men who've been to the space than have sailed around the world solo, so it was quite a challenge.
Now you begin in France and then go down the coast of Africa and around the corner down there and over toward...
Yeah, it's pretty basic. You just leave Europe, you sail south, hit the coast of South America, then you pick the trade winds and go south of Cape Town. It's Cape of Good Hope. It used to be called Cape of Storms, renamed by a PR man. And you continue around. You literally sail around the Antarctic, because the shortest distance from South Africa to South America is through the South Pole. And then you do Cape Loon, which is south of Australia. And then you come around Cape Horn and you sail back up the Atlantic. Sounds simple.
You know, I was looking that up at the Antarctic, and I've always thought of Antarctic as something that's not huge or anything. It's quite huge.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah,
it's 5,500,000 square miles.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
you think of Canada, it's bigger.
Oh, yeah.
It's just massive.
Yeah.
We think in the world of the context of land, but 2/3 of the world, over 70%, is covered by oceans. And we think of Russia, China, India, United States, Canada, the rest of the world combined, but that's actually only 1/3 of our planet.
A small portion.
Yeah, so in context, it's just massive. And I think it's only when you're a long time on your own on the ocean you realise the vastness of it. And
I think you would be thinking of a lot of stuff when you're trying to go around the world alone on your boat and everything you have to deal with. But let's begin describe briefly the boat that you took on that journey, and then we'll talk about the contents of the boat and things that you needed.
Yeah, look, I'm here in California, which is amazing. I just come here from Dublin, and we flew for 11, 12 hours, and it's just amazing to be in California. But my life story basically is built around the ocean, and I always had this ambition and dream. Having done the fully crewed around the world race, I wanted to do it solo. So it was about 1 a.m. seven years ago, and New Year's Day, and I'd been thinking of buying this boat, but it was a New Year resolution. I said, Enda, you got to do it, because if I didn't do it, I'd regret it for years to come. So I bought the boat, New Year's Day resolution, 7-figure sum, a lot of money for cash. The owner hadn't gone to bed, and it had been a boat that had sailed around the world once before. It's what they call an Imoca 60, a 60-foot boat. It's built of Kevlar and carbon, very light.
Now, that wasn't solo, though.
Yes. Yeah,
oh, that one too?
Yeah, it was built it's a very specific design. It's evolved. It started in France about 40 years ago. It's a race that takes place every 4 years.
Okay.
And there were several lives lost in the first race because the rules are very simple. You leave France, you come back to France. And now it's become a very major international sporting event, very big in France and Europe. It wouldn't be well so known here. And now to actually get to the start line, the qualification is quite tough because it's become a major sporting event. So they're restricted to 30 boats, and they're what they call an Imoca 60. So it's a box rule. The boat has to be not longer than 60 feet. It has to be self-righting. The mast is a maximum height, and it's got various safety features, and the rest is a clean sheet of paper. So designs have evolved phenomenally now. The boats have foils, they lift up and go. Think of it as the marathon of sailing, whereas the America's Cup might be the sprint. This is the marathon of ocean sailing. And these boats are extraordinary. My boat was 8.5 tons. The keel was 50% of that. I sailed it solo, which is a lot. I'm not a big macho guy. So there's a lot of technique, there's a lot of skill sets. So I bought the boat, but I did 2 transatlantic trips in preparation, once solo. So it was a tremendous experience, and it's tremendous to be here to talk about it.
Okay, describe some of the material, equipment and such on the vessel. You have Do you have an engine on? I know you can't
Yeah,
use
no,
an engine.
you have to be totally self-contained against the safety requirement. I had 2 salination plants, which makes fresh water out of salt water. I had 2 hydro generators, each would generate about 40 amps.
How were those? Okay, the generators.
Propellers, yeah.
How were they done?
Propellers over the stern.
Okay.
And of course I had solar panels, but they wouldn't have generated enough power. So you were self-contained from an energy perspective. You had a small emergency engine also, which had a charger on it, but primarily it was generators. And then I had 3 self-steering systems, very sophisticated gyro compasses. Then the boat had 60 points on the boat, which would be fed back to a central server. So what you would do is you would download different weather systems, because literally nowadays, when I did my first transatlantic trip in a dinghy many years ago, I went from Boston to Ireland.
How big was the dinghy?
It was 16 feet.
Wow.
You took whatever weather came. But now with ocean sailing, there's no doubt the storms are a bit more severe, but with technology, you're actually able to sail around the systems. So I would have been able to track the weather systems. So you might say have a combination of sailing at, say, 50-degree angle, the wind may be at 180 degrees, you'll be doing 7 or 8 knots in light weather, you might go up to 16 or 17 knots. There'd be various sensor points, sail trim and everything else. So the computer would work out, I may be, say, going from here to Hawaii, or that's much more predictable, but say on the Atlantic it's much more erratic. It might be shorter to head for the Canary Islands and then cross to New York rather than go straight. So there's a lot of technology involved, and that's really exciting. Fundamentals don't change, the ocean doesn't change, but this boat was quite a sophisticated boat, I said, built like the hull of an airplane, of carbon and Kevlar, very light but very strong.
Now, as you began out of France, you are heading down the coast, and how much... Okay, there's a variety of weather and ocean and everything.
You just get everything. You know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It depends. Up at latitude 50 in the North Atlantic, you get these weather systems that roll across from Iceland and Greenland, and then the systems that come up from the Caribbean, we tend to get the leftovers of gales. We don't get the same severe hurricanes that you might get in the Caribbean, but the leftovers do come across to us. So that's very unpredictable. And as you go further south, you get into warmer conditions, and then you cross the doldrums, you sail across the Azores High, and then you punch through the doldrums and you go into the southern hemisphere across the equator.
Now, en route to this, the total time for that was something like 300 days or something?
No, to do my circumnavigation, it was 126 days.
126. Wow, I was way off.
No, you look at that would have been the time 30, 40 years ago.
Okay.
It would have been 300 days, but the boats are much quicker now.
Sure, okay.
They're racing machines, effectively. Fundamentals don't change. You're going through across continents, you're doing across oceans, and you have to be very flexible and adaptable and totally self-contained. I had enough food for several months, made my own energy, had a self-steering system. As I say, your dehydration plants, made your own water. So the world could end, hopefully not, but you're totally self-contained.
Let me jump in for 1 second, because we're all amazed at the story, and let's go on. We could tell this forever. You had some tragedies along the way. Difficulties.
Yes, when I say tragedies,
big problem.
I had challenges. I had a severe knockdown as I was in the transition from the Indian Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, which was about 160 miles south of South Island, New Zealand. Because again, you go literally around the Antarctic, very far south, and in the Indian Ocean, the wind builds up gradually, but as this line, as you cross the date line going into the Pacific, you get these squalls that come up quite quickly, and I was caught unawares, so I lost my mast. I was nearly 200 miles from the nearest land.
Describe in losing the mast. Did it just break off, or did the whole mast fall off? Or
The wind, it was just a crash jibe. One of the runners went and it ripped the deck out of the boat, so the open ocean was coming into the boat.
So you're 200 miles away from anywhere.
Correct, yes.
By yourself.
Correct.
On a big $1 million yacht here, and you're trying to figure out how to
I was in trouble.
Yeah.
I was in serious trouble.
Well, that was something you would always think about anticipating, and you're prepared for that.
You make your luck, but I was pretty unlucky. And I was
no luck of the Irish that day here.
Pretty low level. Like everything else, you get kicked and down, and I was out of the range of rescue services. The furthest the rescue services could come is about 150 miles.
Wow.
And also I was there of my own free will, and I did have enough food. The hull, I covered up the leak, I covered up the deck. So I had enough.
How did you do that?
I just used an old sail
Okay,
to break up. It was on the deck, it wasn't the hull itself.
Oh, okay.
So the waves were coming in on the deck. So really I just battened down the squall and storm abated, and I put up a jury rig, and it took me about 8 days to get that 150 miles. So I got up to South Island, New Zealand. I got into a place called Port Chalmers in Otago Bay, and I thought that was it. But then I was there a few days and I realised, and can't give up. Yeah, you have to finish this.
When you say you thought that was it, you mean you were done?
My ambition was to sail solo around the world.
Okay, and you wouldn't be able to finish it.
You learn one thing in life, you try and set out to what you finish. And
But you could have died out there.
that's the risk you take. But I think to me, the risk wasn't that great, but to others,
And
it was pretty much on the edge.
You've had considerable experience. It's like a Formula driver car.
Yeah, look, I've done this all my life.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, I say when I was 21, I crossed the Atlantic from Boston in a 16-foot dinghy. It was an experimental sailing life raft.
You
I've
just
been
left
a specialist.
the bar and decided to get in the dinghy and take off, huh?
A little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. I've crossed the Atlantic in a 21-foot boat. I've done various ocean races. So this is the penultimate
So what
lifetime
challenges?
achievement.
You're not a young guy. You're a man of means. Why push yourself to these limits? What is it that calls you to do these things? I don't want to be your strength today.
I've signed a document with my family that if I ever want to do something like this again, they can stop me. Because I think we all have, I think it's what they call the risk gene. I think we all have different thresholds of risk. My great-grandfather left Ireland and came to California. He, I think, pushed the boundaries. He managed to found a little bit of gold, not a lot, but enough to return to Ireland and open a pub, which is there to this day.
So that wasn't risk.
I think if you're living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. It is a 4-letter word. We all have different thresholds of risk. And I think civilization has developed in how we understand risk. That's why we have insurance. That's markets, very sophisticated risk mechanisms. As a society, we learn to manage risk, and we have different thresholds. And I think I've perhaps pushed the boundaries. But if I didn't calculate the risk, I don't think I'd be sitting here today.
Yeah. Now, in this particular race, just a VHF radio and that was it?
Sorry?
A VHF radio?
No, I had 3 satellite systems.
Okay.
Quite sophisticated communications. I had instant connectivity. The world has moved on. When I did my first ocean crossing,
different, yes.
When I did my first ocean crossing, I had a plastic sextant that cost me $15 and air tables and a compass.
Well, that was awful expensive.
Yeah, but the world has moved on and the technology has moved on. But the fundamentals of the ocean haven't. It doesn't change.
No.
You know, you realise the vastness of it. And it's very inanimate. Some days the ocean is there out to get you. It's massive waves, huge. And other days it's calm. We're just specks, bit of sand, we're drops in the ocean. It's very inanimate, but we're the spark. We're the human in it, if you like.
Did you have an autopilot?
Yes, I had two main autopilots and one backup one, yes.
Okay, so you could get some rest.
Totally, yeah, it's essential. Yeah, there's no way solo
I
go
just
24/7.
Yeah, how you were going through that and
Yeah,
everything.
again, it's the technology, and it comes from this competitive side. This is a big race in France, the Vendée Globe, and the competitive drive has created some quite sophisticated self-steering systems with gyro compasses and various mechanisms.
And you're saying only a handful of people have ever done this. This is a
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot have sailed around Cape Horn now. Most cruise liners go and oil ships go through Panama Canal, but it's only the cruise liners, the oil tankers that are too big that go around Cape Horn.
Right.
We forget the turbulence of the ocean down there, the size of the waves and the currents and the wind funneling down the Andes either side. So it's pretty turbulent down there in the Southern Ocean.
Now, other vessels, there are ships around both points down there, both hopes. And did you ever have to be overly concerned with the ships near you?
No, to tell you the truth, no, because it's so remote that the shipping lanes, ships of the ocean cover 2% of the ocean. So when you're away from the shipping lanes, it's just vast open spaces. Yes, when you're in lanes, you'll have a higher level of alert.
Yeah.
But it's just so vast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you look at sitting here in California, sunny Newport Beach. The ocean is out there and it's there to adventure, and that was the challenge, and I was privileged to have done it and to be able to share my story.
So I got a question for Joe. So Joe, for those who know, this is a fairly new show for us here on OCTalkRadio. Joe was the editor of Sea Magazine, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, didn't you run one of the marinas here for a while?
Yes, I did, for many years.
All these people.
Water property.
As our guest said, boys and their toys here, as he was walking in. There's some big boats and some big toys here in Newport Beach. Could you imagine many or any of these people doing that? Some of them struggle to get it out to Catalina and back.
Oh, yeah, probably a great majority of them struggle to get to Catalina. But on the other hand, there are many people, and when I say many, I could probably come up with 10 or 12 different, mainly men, although there are a couple of women I know too that would attempt something like that. And the initial thing here in California is the Transpac, which goes to Hawaii.
That's right.
It's 2,200 miles. It's not that big a deal, but sailing a boat 2,200 miles is a lot like a small portion of what you went through.
Yeah.
That's...
And I'm uninitiated, so how does this compare to the challenges of, say, the America's Cup, which is the only one I ever hear about, where Larry Ellison and all these super rich people put these massive funds into trying to, win a certain race somewhere.
Yeah,
that's a totally different type of thing.
Exactly.
It's a totally different type of thing. I'm an ocean explorer and adventurer, very involved in the Explorers Club. There's a good chapter here in Southern California. It's about pushing the boundaries. It's the America's Cup. That's a technology race. It's esoteric. I come from the west of Ireland, Galway, my hometown. We have weather systems coming in. It's a pretty tough environment. So you learn to respect the ocean, as indeed I'm sure people here do,
Yeah, there are times when things get a little bit rougher, but nothing like what you're dealing with there.
Yeah.
And we have Bill Ficker, the late Bill Ficker, he went to the America's Cup twice and won twice, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure about twice. I know he won once.
And he was from here in Newport Beach?
Yes, he was, yeah.
I know, the maritime base here is fabulous. I had a little tour around the harbour this morning. It's just absolutely fabulous.
Cool.
But the boat didn't take us out into the ocean, which was a bit disappointing. But why, when it's so lovely inside the harbour here? Yeah, so I'm down at Newport Harbour Yacht Club on Sunday. Brian Burke, the Commodore's kindly invited me along, so we're going to have a preview of the film there, and then it's formally premiered at the Newport Beach Film Festival. So we're here for a couple of days, and it's fantastic to be here.
So let's talk about that. We'll end by talking about the film itself. So you went through this amazing journey. How did it turn into a film? Was it something you got involved in, somebody approached you about? How does it become a film? It's I can see why it makes a film.
Yeah, there's two parts to it. To be an entrant in this round-the-world race, it's commercial. They make skippers take a lot of film footage. Right. So a lot of home movies, did a lot of video recordings. And there's an Irish lady, Emer Noon. She's from my home county in Galway. And she was the first woman to conduct at the Oscars. And so she's a composer and a very talented musician. So her and her husband, Craig, she did a music score and have put the story together of the ocean voyage. It's been called The Unsinkable Entrepreneur because I've set up lots of businesses. I run several businesses in Ireland. So the film is really a personal odyssey. It's a story of risk. It's a story of adventure.
She approached you, or did you hunt her down?
Actually, it was the other way around. I was working on another project. Grace O'Malley is a famous sea queen, seafarer in Ireland, and I'm involved in a charity and Shackleton, connecting young people with the ocean and adventure. And then this
Shackleton's the guy I don't know that went to the
Antarctic. I'm going down to the Antarctic next week, so I go into the Antarctic via Los Angeles from Ireland, if you can figure that one out.
And if I remember correctly, the Shackleton story didn't work out too well. Didn't they all get stuck down there and die?
Yeah, they didn't die. That's the extraordinary part. They all lived to tell the story. Generally, you know nothing about it if they all die. Yeah, no, it came from a contact in another context to the charity. And then Craig and Emer said, why don't we put this film together? So it's called The Unsinkable Entrepreneur. I think maybe there's a typographical error. It should be The Unthinkable Entrepreneur. But we'll see what the reaction is. It's got a premiere here. Craig is from
Sunday
Newport
night,
Beach originally.
For those listening to it live, this will be this Sunday, the 19th, or those later.
Yeah.
If you miss it at the Newport Beach Film Festival, all part of the Irish Spotlight night that night, which I love going to because I'm so Irish. where do you think it goes next? Other film
Well,
festivals or any
as
distribution?
a sneak preview, it's been shown at 6:30 at the film festival on Sunday evening. Then we have a big party in Muldoon's pub afterwards.
Yes.
But I've actually have a preview with the Newport Harbour Yacht Club at 3 o'clock for members and friends on Sunday afternoon. And then we're in Santa Monica Yacht Club, or Santa Monica Windjammers, I think, on Tuesday evening. So we're here. And then on Wednesday, I go to the Falklands, and then the Falklands we're going down to the Antarctic. So while I sailed around the Antarctic last time, I want to land this time. So
You're flying into the Falklands?
No.
I was going to say, is there an airport?
No, we get a boat. We get a boat out
There's
there.
an airport there, but it's...
So look at it's lovely to be here. We work hard at our business in Ireland. It's a small market, and the relationship between Ireland and California is fabulous. There's 10 million people in LA. I think that's twice the population of Ireland. So
there's 3.5 million just here in Orange County.
Yeah, so the scale is quite different. So it's an honour to be here, and it's an honour that this film, The Unsinkable Entrepreneur, has been premiered at the Newport Beach Film Festival. And I think there's a great community around film. We've met some of them.
And a great yachting community. This is Southern California. Next to the East Coast and Miami and stuff, I can't think of a bigger area for boats and yachting. So I may be wrong, but this is a huge area for that.
Life is a voyage. We're all living on the ocean.
Isn't that the truth? And many of us are living on the edge, like those here.
Well, as I said, that's not an original quote. If you're living on your edge, you're taking up too much space. I've actually stolen that from Winston Churchill.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
He who used that expression first. I'd like to claim credit, but
what comes next for you? Is there any challenge too big to do, or have you itched that itch? Have you gotten that out of your system?
I don't know. Look, we'll all be a long time dead, and I think never is a word you should never use. And sailing solo around the world was penultimate.
I would think.
Proud of that. I will have other adventures, not probably on the same scale, but as long as I'm breathing, I think. But adventure for us all is different. For some, it's an adventure to go down the road. Others, it's an adventure to go to the pub. Others, it's an adventure to sail across the harbour. We all have different degrees of risk. We all have different degrees of challenge. We're all at different stages in our lives. In terms of you don't stop. I think that's life. And you try and give back as well when you get a bit older. You try and leave something behind. And I think I'm getting to that stage in life. The 3 stages, you're nice and young, and you're middle age, and then the 3rd stage, you're looking well. So we all go through that in life.
We're all looking well in this room here.
So I've got my son and daughter here as well, and family. So it's the whole film festival, the team and everything else. It's an honour to have the film there, and let's see what the reaction is.
Let's see. All right, The Unsinkable Entrepreneur this Sunday at the Newport Beach Film Festival, and then watch for it if you're one of the members of one of the local yacht clubs here. And I suspect someday we'll see it on Netflix or something else probably, or who knows. Are you looking for distribution for it? Is it looking to get picked up anywhere here?
Yeah, that'd be nice, yeah. Look, I'm not in the film industry. Yeah. The producer is Craig Garfunkel. They've done a fabulous job, and Emer Noon. They're professionals, and the music score, it's a blend of Irish sort of adventure music. I'm not of the industry. It's just my story sailing solo around the world. You never know. Somebody might pick it up.
Yeah, I was wanting to ask if you helped in the direction of the film. Because
absolutely,
you would have to
totally.
For something so totally unique.
More than the technical advisor, the sort of story consultant here, yeah.
Look I've written 5 books on various adventures. I'm not new to communications. I own a newspaper, The Business Post, which is the national business publication in Ireland. We're reporting regularly on California's tech companies. 50% of United States tech companies invested in Europe do it through Ireland.
Wow.
Yet Ireland is only 2% of the market. There's very warm relations. We're an island on the North Atlantic off another island of England. We're the only English-speaking country in the Eurozone. So there's very close relations, and the fact that I was able to come direct by Aer Lingus straight across is just brilliant. And it's a stroke of genius because you clear emigration in Dublin. I don't know how the Irish government did that one.
Yeah.
So U.S. government immigration officials live in Dublin, so we arrive as domestic passengers, which is lovely. So
just get off the plane and go to your car.
It's just gorgeous to be here. There's no strangers here, only friends we haven't met.
You're certainly one of our friends we haven't met. Yes. Thank you so much for coming. What a tale. And I look forward to seeing it in person this Sunday at the Newport Beach Film Festival. I'll bet you could go on for... I'll bet the after party at Muldoon's Pub is the one to attend here. Get you a little pint of something. How do they say in Ireland? Crake? A little talk or something here? Get you fired up in a few pints, and I'll bet there's a lot more tales to be told.
Yeah, I'll tell you one big secret. It's about navigation for all your Newport seafarers. The best lesson I ever learned from an old seafarer, and it's the secret to good navigation. And what is the secret to good navigation?
Please.
I'll tell you what it is.
Attention
It's
for one thing, but
no, it's to steer around the rocks.
beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
simple. All right.
Finish off with this.
On a book. There's a
Tell us
book.
about
No, it's a book.
Hold that up. So they can see it.
A good book, I suppose. It's like getting married, being on the radio or television. It's like a one-night stand with a nice girl. But if you write a decent book, it's like getting married. If it's good enough, it'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
So the great thing about adventures is when you have an adventure, if you write it down, even if nobody ever reads it, it's a great therapy.
That is, right?
This is Journey to the Edge, an amazing story of risk-taking in business and adventure.
Correct, yeah. So it's more than just sailing around the world. It's various enterprises I've been involved in.
I appreciate you taking the time to drop into our little island here and to share your story with us. What a tale. We hope we're one of those friends that you haven't met yet now that we'll stay in contact with. We look forward to hearing what the next journey is and where you go from here. Thanks so much for joining us today here.
Thank you. Good Margaret.
There you have it. One more reason to tune in each and every time right here to Pacific Yachting on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.